Awesome. Welcome, everyone, to our quarterly customer forum. So my name is Todd Olson, founder and CEO of Pendo. It's my pleasure to walk you through this agenda. And for those who are new to Pendo, this is a tradition that we've been doing here at the company for coming on 4, maybe even 5 years now. So here's the agenda. I'm going to walk through our vision. I'm going to do a quick recap of Pandemonium, which was just a few short weeks ago, and then I'm going to roll into the fun stuff. I think the content that hopefully all of you came to hear, which is what we've recently shipped in the last quarter, and there's just some fantastic new capabilities that we delivered. And then I'm going to look a little bit to the future and share some roadmap and get you fired up about what's to come in the near future. I'm going to close with resources, inspiration, and then, like always, you can ask me any questions that you want. So this is a densely packed session, and just to preempt the question, we will send out a recording of this at the end, so you're welcome to watch this later if you want to share this with your colleagues or friends who are unable to make it at this time. Pendo's vision is to elevate the world's experience with software. And if you think about this, users, all of our users are expecting a personalized experience across all devices, everywhere. And we deliver what we believe is the most complete product-led platform, which helps you deliver a better customer-focused product experience, and now through our new Adopt family of products, help drive adoption for employee-facing applications as well. When we think about that platform, it's really the combination of deep product analytics with in-app communication and messaging and feedback. Folks, in case you missed it, and no, I am not trying to give you a case of FOMO by walking through Pandemonium slides, although I may be doing just that as I walk through it. But we were just so fired up to host many of you in our hometown of Raleigh, North Carolina on October 13th and 14th. Again, just a few short weeks ago. Honestly, folks, I am still riding the high of this amazing event. But we had over 500 of you attend from outside of Pendo, combined with almost 300 Pendozers. We had lots of amazing Southern food, and the weather was beautiful, maybe almost too beautiful is what I heard from a number of you. It was unseasonably hot, and I apologize now if folks are still recovering some of the sunburn, but it was an absolutely fantastic event. And I think what made the event for me was all of the interactions with the folks out there doing amazing things in their products, doing amazing things with Pendo, really living this whole notion of being product-led for their customers and users. I think it was, for those who attended, thank you for attending. For those who didn't, we'll get you next year for sure. And, I know this was, for many people, the first in-person live event they've held in, potentially 18 months or greater. And thank you for spending it with us. And I heard nothing but positive responses. I actually got a retrospective yesterday shared with me, and it seems like everyone had a really good time based on the NPS score of the event. So very, very pleased and excited about the opportunity to share all that we're doing with each and every one of you. But I want to walk through a little bit of what we announced at the event. And the first thing we announced was Simon. Simon is our machine learning capabilities. You can think of Simon as a technology set applied against all the amazing data in Pendo. And you have a chance to catch my keynote, which I believe it's recorded, so we can get you content of that. We collect about 13 billion events a day across all of your applications. And the vision behind Simon is a new set of capabilities focusing on how we derive themes, how do we separate signal from noise amongst all of that data. And that was something that honestly we've been working on. I've been excited about for a very long time. So it was awesome to be able to share this vision with you a few weeks ago. The first application of Simon is in Pendo Feedback. It is, wow, we get mountains of qualitative feedback for what customers want inside my product. And how do I understand what areas require my attention, focus, and or my investment? If you can think about, people asking for features, and I don't know about you folks, but I actually, one of the core widgets on my dashboard is the most recent feedback request. And I'm seeing every day things coming in and then reading them. And I encourage you, if you don't have that set up, well, first you need feedback, but then otherwise it's a really, really cool way to stay close to this whole notion of voice of the customer. But now, sometimes when it's just raw data, it's hard to see where the momentum is inside of that qualitative feedback. And this new capability, basically in a completely magical way, auto generates topics based on your qualitative data and gives you trends, understands it growing, shrinking, etc. From there, you can use it to filter, you can use it to do bulk actions on it, triage it, really, really go deep on it. So that is coming soon. The teams are working on finalizing that. We have current design partners. Feel free to raise your hand if you're interested in being a design partner for this. But this is an area where we are working on final details to roll this out in GA as quickly as possible. The second thing we announced in the feedback portion of my keynote was a new road mapping capability. And folks, it's beautiful. I mean, it's beautiful. If you have a chance to take a look at it. I think for the first time, what we did is, one, just a complete overhaul of the UI. Two, we started adding hierarchy to the roadmap, where you may have initiatives or themes which have sets of requests. So you can drag in requests, group those together, and then of course we'll show the aggregated impact of those requests. So very, very cool. This is also something that's coming very, very soon. But excited to and this is all about, look, when you do all this work, you synthesize all this feedback, you want to communicate with customers and say what's going on. So this is the why behind this capability. Very excited to share this with each and every one of you. We also announced that mobile is now available on Pendo Free. So if you're a Pendo Free customer, which some of you are, you're welcome to start trying out mobile. We also have upgraded the mobile installation process, and very, very excited to continue. The reality is we live in a world where our users want to engage with us wherever they are. And sometimes they're at their computer working through a web browser, and sometimes they're on their phones. So for those of us who have mobile experiences, this is an opportunity to make sure that we understand how our users engage with us in an omni-channel way. So I would encourage you to, if you have mobile apps and you don't yet have Pendo on it, don't have things unified, I'd encourage you, this is a really powerful way to think about the future of how your users will engage. We also unveiled a whole thematic area around improving collaboration and sharing through Pendo dashboards. And there's three main pillars to this work. The first one's on centralization, allowing you to put every piece of data you want as a product team in a single centralized place. And we thought about this at length. There just wasn't this centralized place. Many of you are screenshotting things, copying them into Google Docs, taking things to Miro boards, taking things to wikis. Wouldn't it be nice if you don't have to leave Pendo and you could actually create the dashboard you want, share context along what it is, and then collaborate with your team? We want your Pendo dashboards to be your source of truth for your product projects. When you're thinking about doing discovery on a certain feature area, you should be able to look at quantitative, qualitative, all of your data in a single place. Comment on it, share it, and make sure you find a way to synthesize that into a force rank list, into a set of priorities. And now we're starting to enact this vision. So this is super exciting. We also announced as part of this the new dashboard directory. Check it out. It is early. You'll see a lot more innovation on this page, but it does exist. We added the text block widget, which is part of this whole theme around adding context. And some of you are starting to use it. The usage data in the last 2 weeks looks strong. We see a whole myriad of uses here. This is an opportunity, though, to, and you can drop it anywhere in your dashboard, by the way, just kind of help explain what the purpose of it is and how to interpret the data. We also have an embed widget. This is an embedded iframe. Again, we already are seeing usage of this, and we're seeing folks use it for everything from Google Docs to Miro boards to other assets as well. So you can feel free to create and bring in any third-party content you want via an iframe. We had a new MPS widget. Note, folks, this widget has 4 different modes. You can see them scrolling. I have that first mode there with the beautiful donut chart and kind of summary that also happens to be the most common that we're seeing across our base so far. But I would encourage you to use it. If you had multiple MPS widgets, you can actually see all 4 as tiled. So that's a little trick if you want to go do that, but check it out. It's very, very, very cool. I know, honestly, folks, what I used to do is I have to go to the MPS page. I had my MPS poll favorited. I had to favorite, like this has saved me like 25 clicks, I think. So, okay, that was an exaggeration, probably more like 5 clicks, but it's awesome. It's a way to stay close to what your customers are asking for and what their sentiment is. The next one is a portfolio summary. This is an open beta. I would encourage you to check this out. This is super, super cool. This builds on all the other capabilities of Pendo. It has product engagement score, net promoter score by application, and then also has this thing called attach rate. And folks, this is like the only place in Pendo where you can get this metric, and it's super, super cool because what it's showing you is for given visitors, which applications have the highest percentage of usage. So for many of us who have multi-product portfolios, we want to know, does this product have like 85% of my users, 10% of my users? And of course, over time, many of us want to grow attach on other products. Maybe you're a product manager on one of those products that has a goal around attach. This is a way to actually measure and view this. So this is please give us feedback on this. This is very awesome. I'm looking at this regularly ourselves. Cool stuff. To that end, engagement score. This is something that, of course, is live for each and every one of you. Please check this out. I'll talk a little bit more about the future of engagement score, the near future of engagement score. We do have some small adjustments planned, but you can see here, we have all the drill downs are available. So, if you didn't know this, click on any of the 3 axes of the engagement score. You'll get some goodies on the panel that flies out from the right. We also now have trends of product engagement score. You're welcome to view that as well. So there's multiple ways to slice and dice this. There's a lot of insights in here. Like I've personally learned a lot already by using this more. And then the thing that I want to tease out for you is this is intended for being an executive level score to share, again, with your leadership team, potentially board of directors. So again, this is an opportunity. And look, we've heard your feedback. So as I just said, I wanted to give you a little bit of a look to upcoming enhancements. And we heard a couple things. One is that the configuration for adoption, which is our kind of breadth adoption of core events, was too limiting. The second piece is that we heard the growth was too volatile. And actually, we saw this in our own data. It was a good score, bad score. It was too easy to change. And the third was need for more actionable steps. So what we're doing is improving it. So early next calendar year, we are going to be adjusting the adoption measure from being the percentage of active visitors who use any core event to average number of core events used by active visitors. So, we feel like this is much more accurate view of what we mean by core event adoption. It's more meaningful and more actionable. The other thing that we're looking at doing is adjusting growth. Instead of growth being just basically a percentage growth, we're looking at using quick ratio, which is a little more standards based, but it's new plus recovered users divided by dropped users. So it's more stable. It's getting at the same thing. I mean, obviously, it's essentially new plus recovered is added divided by drop. So it's actually a pretty interesting measure to help understand your growth. So again, folks, these two adjustments are coming out in early 2022. The next thing I want to talk about is the next big area that we talked about at Pandemonium was the adopt families. And it was really about adding in a new larger use case around helping your employees adopt software. So, many of you are using us to deliver a better product experience for your customers. But all of us as employees come into work, sit in front of a computer, and that's it. We're using software all day long. And we see an opportunity to help each and every one of us use those applications more effectively. I mean, those applications are changing all the time. All of our companies aren't just buying software. We're buying it and then heavily tailoring it to our processes, to our business practices. So this is an opportunity to drive adoption, education, measure drop-off across those applications internally. So we announced Pendo Adopt. It is going GA early next calendar year. We demoed on stage organizational insights. And this is cool stuff. This is like where your company is spending its time in terms of software, where certain roles are spending a certain time within software. It's looking at workflows, both within applications and across applications. How many times, if you're doing like new employee onboarding, and I've been at my company for over 8 years, so I don't have to onboard much anymore, but every once in a while we have a new app, but it's like, go here, go to here, copy this thing, put it in here, do this, do that. It gets always some interesting, more sophisticated workflow, and being able to measure it, educate people on it, very, very powerful. It is a point and click guide creation. So we've unveiled a new guide designer that is really meant to actually complement our existing guide designer. Or I think our existing guide designer is more focused on helping you create native looking experiences for your customers so it looks and feels like your product. Because this isn't on your product, it's on applications you purchase, we can dramatically simplify the guide creation to be just simple point and click. And that's what we've done. So we're excited to have you try this out. If you're interested in checking it out, let someone at Pendo know. Okay, with that, that's all the goodies I announced on stage at Pandemonium. Now I want to walk into all the goodies that didn't quite make the stage, but are still really, really awesome and valuable. And the first one is around guide display alerts. This is a long-term Pendo request and very, very cool. So we have an alerts table. And look, one of the biggest pieces of feedback we have is a launch a guide. And I want to make sure it's not making my experience worse in the case where it potentially is broken. And as we know, if you're targeting a guide on a specific element or specific page, changes to the app can break the guide. So what we've done is we are collecting errors behind the scenes and flagging guides and or guide steps that we believe could be broken. And the vision here isn't, look, you know your applications better than we do. So our job here is to surface it, not necessarily diagnose it. So we're providing you the ability to diagnose it, but we're also giving you the impact, like how many users, which users were impacted, so you can get a sense of honestly focuses with all test users or internal users, that's a maybe different problem, different scenario than if you see a number of external, obviously, customers, et cetera, et cetera. So this is very, very cool. This is live. Check it out. Again, long-term requested features by many of you who are heavy guide users. Guide accessibility is now open beta for everyone. We've also, to that end, added keyboard navigation of the resource center. So if you're delivering a resource center to your users, individuals using e-readers, et cetera, can now use the keyboard, now use the resource center. So what's next? The biggest body of work we have for guide accessibility is on polls. So we are finishing up some of that work, and then we are currently working on accessibility assessments for across our products. We recently launched the ability to launch a guide for mobile. This is something that we had in web, but what the nice use case here is if you have an onboarding carousel in mobile, you can actually launch right into a walkthrough if that is the flow you're desiring. You can also have help guides with links to multiple other sites. So it's an actually nice way to leverage a guide as a launchpad. If a user wants to learn more, attach it to another guide and take them there. As I said earlier, with mobile free, we have enhanced our mobile installation. So we have a new mobile installation tool that gives you more verifications, make sure we're getting data correctly. Check this out. We're also, for the first time, we have delivered link preview to Slack. And this is allows you to unfurl data, and actual data is coming out here. You may have noticed that the URLs changed in Pendo, and this was intentional to support this feature among other things. But now there's, for example, it's a more identifiable URL. So when we're copying it in, we can make sure we have the right context. But we support pages, features, track events, guides. It's a great way to get fast data and then comment on it, drop emojis on it, etc. This is a really cool feature, folks. For folks who have feedback, one of the interesting use cases is I want to message users who have asked for this feature. And you can think about what are or voted for it, by the way. And so what's that good for? Maybe you want to get feedback on a mock-up. Maybe you want to inform them that you delivered a piece of this capability or the entire capability. Maybe you want to see if people who ask for a certain feature are using something else that's related to it. These are all interesting use cases that you can answer with this dynamic segment. If you look here, it's just one of the cool other areas you can create segmentation on. We now have the ability to select which page the Feedback Resource Center module opens. So we have multiple options. And we now have the ability to choose from either the request submission form or the feedback dashboard. You can configure this in feedback integration. Again, this is all about creating a native-like tailored experience for your end users. Okay. I'm going to have a little quick sip of water here, folks. That was a lot. So just again, kudos to our product and engineering teams for just a remarkable quarter, like delivering a ton of innovation across this quarter, and some big things like Simon, and like really, really excited about all of the deliveries this quarter. But we got some really exciting stuff to share coming forward. The first one is actually more of a reminder than an innovation. We are replacing trends with Data Explorer. We have been communicating this in the app. I'm just reminding you, this will happen on November 22nd. You are not losing anything. You are only gaining. So, and look, folks, I'd encourage you that if you're not actively looking at areas of your product to potentially sunset, it's a missed opportunity. This should actually clean up UI and make things simpler and better, and clean up the code base, which makes things easier to maintain. I already talked about this. The dashboard directory was clearly a version 1.0. We're adding the ability to obviously view all dashboards. We're adding descriptions of dashboards. We're adding favorites. I think you'll see us over time evolve the main menu to focus on the favorites rather than all the dashboards. All the dashboards, you get this like large scrolling issue. That's not beautiful. So I think over time, you'll see us be able to have hot links to the favorites, but then requiring you to go more in this directory for accessing your breadth of directories. We are adding sharing, deeper sharing, where you can actually have co-editing permission with others. This is something we have never done before. Today, you can either have your own dashboard or you can share a copy of a dashboard. This gives you the ability to actually co-edit a dashboard with your team. And the whole theme of bringing centralization of data, we're adding more and more widgets. And you're going to see, and folks, if we're missing some, ask, because we want to hear your feedback. But we're enhancing goals, and we're adding them as a feedback or as a widget to the dashboard. And goals is, I always feel like goals is one of those classic Where's Waldo features. If you don't know where it is, it's like this little bullseye icon right above the featured graph or the page graph. I would do a show of hands who actually knows that, but this is an area where we should be helping you drive adoption. Yes, it's elegantly designed, but no, it's not at all discoverable. So we get that. So it will be discoverable going forward. We're adding it as a dashboard widget. We're also adding one of the pieces we heard is that there aren't enough things configurability in the goals. So we are listening and adding that capabilities. And I would encourage you, when we do this, to work with your team to set what your goals are. What are your goals for your product? What are your goals for your area of the product? I mean, to me, what are your goals if you're shipping a new release? What's success for that feature defined as? This is a great thing. We talked about board decks to the product engagement score. Throw in your goal in your board deck and talk about where you're at. Be transparent. This is a great opportunity. We're also enhancing a pull results widget. You can see some of the great mocks. This is just, again, all about how do we centralize in a single place all the relevant product data that you need. We are adding Data Explorer charts natively to the dashboard. So you can go in and add a Data Explorer chart, quickly add it, pull things in. Today, you can go to the Data Explorer and then add to the dashboard, but it's clumsy, folks. It's clumsy. So now we're bringing it front and center, changing the flow so it's going to be able to originate with the dashboard and then move through to Data Explorer. This one's an exciting one. Compound and or nested segments. This is a long time requested. I think on our Pendo feedback instance, it's like a top 10 item. I will say, folks, this is hard. That's the only reason why it wasn't done before now. If you can imagine what sort of combinatorial Boolean logic can occur while you combine lots of segments together, it can get incredibly complex. And the reason for us taking our time on this, and folks, we have been working on this for a while, is just make sure it hits our performance characteristics. We don't want it to turn into a spinning beach ball of death inside of Pendo every time you run a sophisticated compound segment. So we are feeling good about this. This is going to be super, super, super cool. A classic use case for us is we do a lot of segments on roll. And I want to have role-based segments and then have different derivations of it. So inheriting role, adding on other qualifiers. Another thing is we often have free versus paid customers. So being able to say, okay, starting with free customers or paid customers or trial customers, using that as a way to build off of. This is actually should reduce the number of total segments, we believe. This is super, super cool. You also see that we're going to start surfacing eligible visitors in every single segment dialog. This is a nice add as well. Resource Center metrics. This is, if you haven't checked this out, I encourage you to do so. We are giving you full, robust analytics on what people are clicking on, using, navigating to in the Resource Center. You can create segments based on views of specific content within the resource. So people that saw this content in the Resource Center, what else, do further filters, targeting guides, etc. There's a number of goodies with mobile guides, and these are all relatively smaller, but the lighter items, adding YouTube videos, using a link, sticky footer. That's very useful for this terms of service use case where the kind of footer doesn't scroll as the device scrolls, and then the ability to add a full bleed background image. You can see here the little notch. So it's a great way to just, again, create more beautiful guides on mobile. We're excited to talk about our BigQuery data integration. So you can push Pendo data to your BigQuery instance, and this allows you to then combine it with other data from your organization and run queries against it. So, if you've got a data science team that is fluent and BigQuery, they probably want Pendo data in it to continue slicing and dicing. And this is a great opportunity to do that. Please talk to your Pendo CSM today. It's a cool way to get more robust analytics. You see here, we've actually upgraded our Zendesk Help Center integration. And I heard folks, it's either going out today or tomorrow on our own internal subscription. So check it out in our Resource Center. But you can see here a native-like experience, leverage Zendesk's out-of-box Help Center features. Doesn't have to live inside of an iframe. So it'll look beautiful and native, which is what people want. We're adding the ability very, very soon to self-service CNAME. This is something you would have had to contact your CSM, have to talk to our ops team to manage. We're actually unveiling a new org settings page. And org, you can think of in the hierarchy, it's above a subscription. So you have orgs, subscription, apps. Your orgs will manage CNAME. You can look at your subscription plan details, which is kind of like what you purchased. You can get a sense of where you're against your MAU entitlements. This is pretty cool stuff, folks. This is the key, again, giving you more transparency of how you've rolled out Pendo, what you've bought. This is very much an admin feature. So if you're not an admin, share this with your admin. You will want to use this page. And we're adding cool capabilities to it. One of those is the ability to have organization-wide guide themes and layouts. What we constantly hear is, my design team is coming in and creating for my company a set of layouts and templates and themes. I want everyone to inherit it. And you really can't copy across. It's painful. So we're making it a lot easier. You can simply add them in there and share them across subscriptions now. We are releasing soon, soon being this quarter coming up, SCIM integration, which is a cool acronym, System for Cross-Domain Identity Management. Think identity providers like Okta and Azure, but it allows you to have very easy provisioning of Pendo users, including roles. Again, this is an admin feature. You can see here it's resident on our new organization settings page. There's a tab at the same sort of level as CNAME, SAML, etc. This is a powerful way to kind of add more users to your subscription. Feedback. In my last session, I talked a little bit about this new beta for the browse page, and folks, they just keep adding to it. So if you're in the beta program, rather, if you're not in the beta program, get in the beta program because you're going to get a lot of goodness. They're adding rearrangeable columns. It's a much more beautiful, seamless experience, more consistent with the rest of Pendo. But check it out. Go to the browse page. You'll see an icon on the top. You can easily switch to the beta and then provide us feedback. Tell us what you want to see. This is the future of feedback from a UI perspective. So we want your, we want your feedback. To that end, the number one most requested feature for Pendo feedback is customizable request statuses. You will be able to edit that soon within the next month, which will appear throughout the product. So check it out if that's something that was kind of holding you back. What is Pendo Adopt for Partners? So Pendo Adopt for Partners is a new offering from us that actually allows many of you. So many of you sell products that are heavily customized by your customers. So therefore, like, guides can help at a macro level, but you may feel like it doesn't help for like individual screens or certain forms on certain screens that are very dependent upon the end customer. This allows you to sell a lighter version of Pendo to that customer so they can enable their users on their own. It also gives them the ability to get analytics on how they're using it. It's very, very cool. And here's a nice thing. We actually share the revenue. So it's actually revenue generating for many of you. And there's a bunch of you in this program already. This is very, very successful. It's generating a lot of revenue for the successful partners. So if there's interest, let us know. So look, I would encourage you to, if you saw something in this presentation that you do not have, reach out and ask for it. I give a bunch of information on Pendo Mobile, feedback, Adopt for Partners, integrations. If you need anything, reach out. We're here to help, and we want to make sure you're successful. And if there's something blocking you from one of these, please tell us. Like, we'll work with you on making sure you can get the most value out of Pendo. So I want to close on a little bit of resources and inspiration. First off, we're all logged into the neighborhood. And by the way, this is the first time we have hosted this webinar in the neighborhood. Please give us feedback on this experience. We want to make things wonderful. So any feedback you have is useful. But within this neighborhood, you can get access to obviously all the events, Academy, Pendo Friendos, and discussion amongst yourselves. The discussion community looks like this. I'd encourage you to introduce yourselves, ask questions, answer questions. Many of you, I saw some names on there that probably know Pendo very, very, very well. This is an opportunity to answer some questions, share. Giving feels good, folks. This is an opportunity for you to feel good about helping someone else make their product better. We have this program called Neighborhood Advisors, and what this does, it's actually curated by our user research team. This is an opportunity to shape the future direction of the product and co-design with our product team. So you get a lot of early looks at things. You get looks at things that may not be built. So beware. But many of the things are built. So it's an opportunity to kind of, and if you see something you like, you can probably influence to make sure it does get built. But very, very cool program available through the neighborhood. The Academy is now virtual. So you can actually get Pendo Essentials certification online without having to go through the live course. Now, look, the live course is great. Our people are fantastic. For many of you, that'll be the best way to do it because it's awesome. We also can come on site and do one for your team or company if you have a demand for that number of individuals doing it. But the virtual option is nice as well. So check it out. There's over 1,000 of you certified in Pendo Essentials. We love to see more. Pendorama. These are monthly customer spotlight events. You can learn how other individuals, other peers of yours are using Pendo. The next one's virtual on November 3rd. Check it out. And look, if you've got a story you want to tell, even if you just want to practice your public speaking skills, reach out. We'll get you hooked up. You can be the next presenter at the next Pendorama. Pugs, Pendo user groups. You can see the set there. If you don't see your city, folks, this is your opportunity again to be a leader within your community. Raise your hand. We can get you set up as a Pug group leader. And there's a lot more cities than there are Pug groups. So we have work to do, folks. And if you don't see your city, this is an opportunity. So virtual events. We've got just this cool event coming up with our own Hannah Chaplin and Rebecca Naute. We're talking about road mapping. And folks, Hannah's the original co-founder of Receptive, the original company behind Pendo Feedback. So if anyone knows anything about road mapping, it's Hannah and Rebecca on her team as well. So this is a unique opportunity to hear from the makers, the inventors, and couldn't be more excited about this one. How I Pendo. This is a beautiful collection of stories on how each and every one of you is using Pendo. And I encourage you to check it out. You will absolutely get inspo on this page. You will see something you want to do. You'll take it back to your organization and you'll try it out. But this is also an opportunity for you to inspire the rest of us. And so share stories. If you have a story to share, please let us know. We'd love to get it captured on the site. Top 10 mobile KPIs you should be tracking. So as I said earlier, the world is moving in a place where our users want to engage with us where they are. So so for many of you who are increased investment in mobile experiences, this ebook is really, really interesting to help give you a sense and challenge you around the KPIs you're tracking and make sure you're taking advantage as you should. We've got 3 new customer stories. Very exciting about all 3 of those. Filevine, fun fact, is a design partner for Topics. So I'd encourage you to check this customer story out. They're doing some groundbreaking things. And for those who are unaware, we have this cool product-led hub and box. It's inspired by my book, The Product-Led Organization. I've spoken to a number of your organizations in events. If I have not spoken to yours and you desire me speaking at one of your events, whether it be a kickoff or whatever it is, just let us know. We'll try to accommodate. I love chatting with each and every one of you. But we have this box which has the ability to have workshops, et cetera, to kind of get more interactive and try to start applying these things in real life. You see here, you haven't read Product Craft or you haven't paid attention, there's some great content on there. We continue to every week we're pushing up great content there. And with that, we're great on time. I'm going to start taking questions from the audience. We've got about 15 minutes. I'm going to stop sharing. I'm going to go back and let's see what folks have written here. Okay. Make sure I get, and feel free to bring the questions in, folks. So don't be shy. Oops. Okay, so let's ask a quick question here. Let's see if we're getting questions coming in. Got it. What was your favorite thing about Pandemonium? Honestly, meeting all the customers that were there is always my favorite thing. So just hearing your stories, that's what inspires me. So that was great. And yeah, the whole thing was fantastic. I really enjoyed the musical acts in the evening. I enjoyed talking to Lolo Jones on stage, one of our keynotes. Yeah, there's just a lot of great things. So, honestly, each and every one of you, like engaging with you, talking with you, that's the part that's most exciting to me always. The next question is, what are your most used favorite dashboard widgets? Yeah, I wonder if I should share my dashboard with each and every one of you. Yeah, whatever. Like let's see what I can give you a little bit of taste of it. Let's do this live demo here. See how it works. So I'm going to share my screen. I don't know. I don't think I'm showing you anything too controversial, or hopefully I won't share any customer data. I think that's probably against some sort of rule. So I'll try not to do that. So Don't worry, I'm just kidding with you folks. So don't worry, I know what I'm doing here. So, but this is kind of how I look at things. This is like look between users and accounts. I have it split as top level overviews, and then you see me split it from trials, paying customers. I'm looking at trends. Look at this last week, largest week in history for people logging into Pendo, 15,612 visitors. I can see if that's across paid, trial. I'm looking at this daily, weekly, monthly, high, medium, low. You can see that the bulk of our users who are paid customers are very high frequency users, so 64%. If I look at high plus medium, which roughly equates to about weekly active use, you can see 86% of you log in at least every week. So that's pretty good. We kind of look at the wow mal ratio here. This one, for folks that don't know, this is like one of the first dashboard widgets we ever created in Pendo history. I wouldn't say it's the most actionable thing in the world, but every once in a while I catch something on this chart. So you can see here, I didn't refresh my page, but today at 11 a.m., most usage probably ever had an hour-long block. You also notice that someone using Pendo at all times of the day, I don't know what you folks are doing at 12 a.m. on a Sunday, but 18 of you were logging in, looking at product data. So kudos to you. We also have my time to first use, core events. I already mentioned the recent product requests from feedback. You can see the NPS widget, which I just teased out as being brand new. So this gives you a sense for what it is. I've got also this portfolio summary chart, which I just love, kind of gives you a sense for that as well. So yeah, this is, that's my dashboard. So that was sort of an impromptu demo there. So you can get a sense for what I'm looking at every day. And for those blocks at the top, folks, what you can do is you can add as many of those summaries as you want, then just tweak the segments and settings on the details page so that you can get those different cascaded blocks. So it's just adding multiples of the same widgets. You can have as many of the same widgets as you want. Okay, next question is what are some big themes or ideas you're thinking about for the product for the next year? Look, we're going to tease out in the next webinar like a pretty robust annual roadmap, so you'll get that next. But I think there's going to be a heavy investment in analytics, both inside the product. You already saw a little bit of putting the Data Explorer in the dashboard. That's happening in Q4. But we're also looking at continuing adding just a lot more depth. And, I think there's things our backend and API can do that we don't surface in the UI. So we've always had this delicate balance of how much we surface because it does create complexity, but you'll see us adding a lot more power there. So that's super exciting. You also saw us tease out this whole ability to put Pendo data into BigQuery. We're looking at supporting other sections, other solutions to get data out to. That's another area. We're looking at, and we already talked a little bit about accessibility through our app, but also localization of our app as we become more international. Those are some of the big areas, but I'll give you a more in-depth view, all of you next webinar. So the question is, are there plans for making guides responsive? That they used to be responsive. And so if they're not responsive, we should probably fix that. When I say used to be, I mean, years ago they were. So we'll look at this and see what it takes to do that, and we'll follow up. But we should absolutely have responsive guides. So we should be able to use some CSS to address that. So we'll take a look at that. Are there plans for better mobile guide previewing based on screen dimensions? Guide preview designer is often. Are you talking about native mobile or mobile or is it about native mobile? Yeah, I think you can. Oh, thank you. You can preview on the device as well, which we would recommend doing. And we've actually been exploring more ways to do more work actually on the device. So we've had a number of hackathon projects where we're leveraging the device more. So that is an area that we will absolutely invest in to make sure that it looks like what it's supposed to look like. The next question was, I was glad to hear you're tweaking the growth metric. I've been put on spot a couple times trying to explain why it's skyrocketed. Any tips on how to explain that to the executives? Yeah, we're using percentage growth, and we're looking at a comparison of the actual time boxes, and depending on the time boxes you pick, the percentages can be larger. So we've had the same issue with ours. Kind of, actually we've seen the growth go up, and then we've also seen it drop precipitously. So neither are great examples. I think just be patient. I think we're getting our new capability out pretty soon, and I think it'll be a much more stable metric for growth. I mean, look, this is still a metric that we're adjusting. So I think that's how I'd explain it and say, look, Pendo's working on it, and look, I'd be happy to talk to your executives too if it helps in any way. Are there plans to expand the usage trending metric? We'd love to be able to segment my top 10% of users instead of manually calculating it out with minutes used. That's a good question, Desmond. So I'll go back to the team and we'll talk about it. There are no specific plans to expand on the usage trending widget, but we would love to hear more about what you're looking for there. And we already have a second person following up. So let me have our product team reach out to you and give you a sense of what you're doing by hand. And we'll see if we can adjust it and tweak it. So, but yeah, appreciate the feedback. Anything else? No? Look, folks, it's been a pleasure to chat with each and every one of you today. Thank you for attending. Please, again, give feedback about this webinar, the format, and anything else. And we'll follow up with some of these more specific product questions, but we appreciate your partnership, and have an awesome day. Thanks, everyone.